to the Ross Carbonite switcher tutorial. Yes, it's a lot of buttons, but don't let this overwhelm you. Once you get to know this, it gets pretty simple. Let's get started. This is the Ross Carbonite 2M switcher. No matter what switcher you work on, these skills will be transferable. First, let's separate the different sections of the switcher. This section is the adjustment section that controls and selects the different features of the switcher. This section is the ME1 video control section that controls the different layers in the switcher. We will explain this later on in the video. And this section is the main video control section where you control all the different sources coming into the switcher. Let's focus on this section first. In this section, there are many different sections of buttons. These buttons are called buses or buttons. These are the video source buses. This is the transition area. This is a transition fader bar, and this is the key or transition buttons. Let's begin with the video source buses. The video source buses have 3 rows of buttons. This bottom row of buttons are called preview or preset buttons. This controls what is next to be on air. If you select a preset, it will appear on the screen in front of you in the box labeled PV with the green border. For example, we have cameras, VTRs, video playback, servers, graphics, and more. Again, presets or preview is what's coming up next on air. Pressing these buttons will not change what is on air. Feel free to search through these buttons to find the right shot. The next row is the on-air buttons. These show and control what is currently on air. You should avoid touching these buttons while recording. These buttons will be red in color and match the screen border of the program or PGM screen. This top section is the key selection area. You can add things to your video like lower thirds, green screens, and other effects. Let's stick with the basics for now, we'll touch on this later. Let's start off with selecting camera 1 in the presets. You can see that it has switched to camera 1 in the box labeled PV, preview, with the green border. You can either cut, auto trans, or use the transition bar to put it on air. You can use the transition bar, however it will be difficult to keep it consistent because it is controlled by you instead of the switcher itself. After transitioning, you can see what you had in preview is now in program and it is lit up red on the on-air buttons. Here's a quick tip. If you get lost, just set everything back to black and start again. Now that we've learned how to put things on program, let's get into keys and keying. First, let's explain what a key is. A key is a layer that you can put on top of your program. A key will always be on top of your video or program and will be known as background. So let's put a lower third on air. First, these are the key select buttons. With these, you will be selecting which key you'd like to set up. Let's select the Key 1 Cell button. Next are the key type buttons. For most graphics, you'll be selecting the Auto Select button. Once you have selected Auto Select, you're now ready to select your key source. These are the key source buttons. With these buttons, you can choose what you'd like to have as a key. For example, we will be selecting Graphics or GFX as our source. Graphics will be coming from Expression. This will be touched up on in another video. Now, let's put this key on air. We can preview the key to see what it would look like by selecting Key 1 in the transition area. The number of key in the transition area will always match the key select button. In the left preview screen, you can see that your graphic is over top of your background. Use this as a reference. Once you are ready to bring the graphic on air, you can either use the Cut or Auto Trans button to bring it on program. To take out the graphic, you will hit the same buttons while Key 1 is selected in the transition area. Once the key is off air, you will then hit the Background or BKGD button so that you will be able to start affecting your source buttons again. Here's a quick tip. If your show is running out of time or is moving fast, you can press both the background and key to tie them together. Once you have done this, you can change your background and remove your key at the same time. Now that we've gone over lower thirds, let's get into green screen and chroma key.